Hello, my friend, and welcome to Wisdom Trek. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for our 5-day-per-week wisdom and legacy building podcast. Today is day 531 of our trek, and it is Wisdom Wednesday. Every Wednesday along life's trail, we will dig for the nuggets of wisdom found in the book of Proverbs. Today, we'll explore the second half of chapter 28. We are broadcasting from our studios at the Big House in Marietta, Ohio. I invested last week in Arizona, updating all the financial transactions for our current construction project and then organizing the filing center. We were able to discard much of the old paperwork in preparation for setting up files for our current and future projects. Much of the current paperwork is being stored electronically now and will become more so as we move forward in the future. It was a week well invested. It is good to be home for this week, but most of February we will be traveling, which includes a podcaster's cruise before I head back to Arizona again later this month. We do invest much of our time working hard in planting seeds in peoples and companies so that we can reap a harvest of blessing both now and in the future. This reminds me of verse 19 of our trek today, which tells us a hard worker has plenty of food. Let's start on our trek for today as we explore verses 15 through 28. These are more Proverbs of Solomon, which were recorded by King Hezekiah. Verse number 15. A wicked ruler is as dangerous to the poor as a roaring lion and an attacking bear. When someone who is in a position of authority is wicked or lacks compassion, then those who are less fortunate will be in peril. The consequences to the poor will be as dangerous as if wild animals were released on them, as dangerous as a lion or a bear that is ready for the attack. Verse number 16. A ruler with no understanding will oppress his people, but one who hates corruption will have a long life. You can discern the integrity and mind of a ruler by how they treat others who are less fortunate. If they oppress those who they are leading, then it shows that they really don't understand how best to rule others. A leader who hates the abuse of others will be granted a long and pleasant life. Verse number 17. A murderer's tormented conscience will drive him into the grave. Don't protect him. God is just, and He is the author of justice. The immutable law of planting and harvesting applies to every area of our lives. When someone takes an innocent life, their conscience will plague them continually. While we can show compassion for them, we should not make excuses for them, and we should allow them to reap the harvest for which they had planted. Verse number 18. The blameless will be rescued from harm, but the crooked will be suddenly destroyed. God's justice also applies in every situation. If we live our lives according to God's precepts found in His Word, we will be protected. Those who practice a life of wicked habits will sooner or later suffer the consequences. Verse number 19. A hard worker has plenty of food, but a person who chases fantasies will end up in poverty. There is no substitute for consistent, persistent, and hard work. When we practice this continually, we will have all the resources that we need. Contrary to this is a person who chases fantasies and dreams, but is not willing to work hard to make those dreams realized. They will be in continual poverty for their lack of responsibility. Verse number 20. A trustworthy person will get a rich reward, but a person who wants quick riches will get into trouble. A person who is worthy of trust is a person who is also dependable. Their focused discipline will allow them to harvest what they have planted. A person who is not willing to work planting the seeds of disciplined work, but is looking to harvest without work, will always be in financial trouble. There is no such thing as quick riches. Verse number 21. Showing partiality is never good, yet some will do wrong for a mere piece of bread. A person with a lack of principles and integrity will easily be bribed to do what is convenient and not what is right. They will easily be swayed by the smallest immediate gratification. Verse number 22. Greedy people try to get rich, but they don't realize that they are headed for poverty. A person who is chasing a fantasy of get-rich-quick schemes will never reach what they are chasing. Instead, they will be continually on the road to poverty, always chasing their next fantasy. Verse number 23. In the end, people appreciate honest criticism far more than flattery. At times, truth seems to be so rare in our postmodern world, but I suspect it's always been the case throughout history. It seems like political correctness has consumed the majority of people. It is refreshing when we actually receive honest criticism from someone who really has our best interest at heart. They desire to see us become our best. This is much more beneficial than someone who tells us what they think we desire to hear. Verse number 24. Anyone who steals from his father and mother and says, "What's wrong with that?" is no better than a murderer. We need to respect and honor our parents, regardless of our upbringing. We should not take advantage of them, nor their willingness to assist us. We are responsible for our own lives, and if we steal from or take advantage of our parents, then our disregard for them is the same as taking their very life from them. Verse number 25. Greed causes fighting. Trusting the Lord leads to prosperity. When we desire to have what is not ours, it will lead to problems and fighting between people. We should instead trust in God to provide for us, which will lead to a rich and satisfying life. Verse number 26. Those who trust in their own insight are foolish, but anyone who walks with wisdom is safe. None of us have all knowledge, and none of us have reached the point in our lives where we have nothing more to learn. To think this shows how foolish we are. When we are walking in wisdom, then we realize that we have much more to learn and more wisdom to gain. It is then that we'll walk safely throughout each day of our life. Verse number 27. Whoever gives to the poor will lack nothing, but those who close their eyes to poverty will be cursed. Throughout the Bible, God continually shows his concern to those who are poor, especially if their condition is out of their control. If we are fortunate enough to have more resources than we really need, then we should be willing to help those who are poor. In doing so, all of our needs will be continually provided for. If we are not willing to do so, then our lack of compassion will come back on us in our time of need. Verse number 28. When the wicked take charge, people go into hiding. When the wicked meet disaster, the godly will flourish. Regardless if you live in a country where you have many freedoms or few, all people fear rulers who are wicked. It is an oppression to them. When those rulers who are wicked come to their demise, it is the opportunity for those who follow God's precepts to have a greater impact on their world. Today on our Wisdom Trail, we continue to explore the series of Solomon's Proverbs that were assembled by King Hezekiah. These Proverbs provide us with more wisdom, insight, and understanding on a myriad of relationship issues. Regardless of where you are on your faith walk, if these precepts and proverbs are followed, your life will be rich and satisfying. Take them and plant them in your heart so that you'll reap a harvest of wisdom. I would challenge you to take just one of the precepts that we learned today in Proverbs and commit yourself to applying it to your life. Tomorrow we will hike another short trail on our Wisdom Unplugged series where we will discover an inspirational wisdom quote. So encourage your friends and families to join us and then come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek. Creating a legacy. Well, that'll finish our trek for today. If you'd like to listen to any of their past treks or read the Wisdom Journal, they are available at wisdom-trek.com. And thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal. And as we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and then leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and then create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.